So today's practice is designed to support the up phase of labour, that first phase of labour, which is usually the longest, when your uterus is contracting upwards and your body's just really beginning to start to open, to make space for baby. So we're thinking about the inlet of the pelvis, the top part of the pelvis, and working with the breath and slow, grounded, rhythmic movement patterns to encourage that beautiful flow of oxytocin and endorphins, which are your natural pain relief. So we're actually going to start standing today and being mindful of how comfortable we feel through the feet. So we want to have a nice steady base here, have your legs as wide or as close together as feels comfortable, but about hip width, maybe a little bit wider. We're going to bring the hands onto the hips and we're going to start with our standing pelvic circles. So I want you to really find rhythm in your movement. There's no right or wrong. Keep a little bit of a bend or a softness in the knees. Maybe you could always use the wall. You could pop the hands up against the wall if you're close to one, if that feels more comfortable. Some people like to have the hands on the thighs, and instead of full circles, we're looking at sort of semicircles. But just giving yourself a moment to find whatever works for you and tune in to the natural rhythm of your breath. If you feel comfortable there, you could close down the eyes. And change up that direction, really tuning into whatever it is that your body is asking of you today, but also every day. It's a beautiful practice for your labour and your birth. Your body knows the answer, and your job is to tune in and to listen to that. And then finding a little bit of stillness here. We're just going to rock the hips from side to side, which again can be a really lovely way to relieve any pressure in the lower back, in the pelvic region, during contractions, maybe in between contractions. We often feel that build-up of tension and pressure, and actually having that gentle, slow, rhythmic movement patterns available to us can be really, really helpful to work on relieving any of that built-up tension. And then finding some stillness here, taking a breath in as we reach those arms overhead. Exhaling out through the mouth. Inhale to reach. One more time. This time, we're going to sink down a little bit into the hips. So we're softening into the adductors here. We can have the hands on the knees, or we could bring the hands onto the hips. We're going to sink into our goddess pose, or our variation of goddess, which is a really beautiful way of opening that pelvic inlet, but also strengthening these smaller, more supporting muscles of the pelvis, the thighs, and taking those eyes, that gaze down, or closing down the eyes if that feels available to you. If not, that's okay. Pausing and breathing into that goddess. If you feel really comfortable here, you may choose to raise the arms, or you could cactus those arms. We're going to hold for 5 breaths, connecting to that pelvic floor, that core space. If we feel good here, we're going to bring in a gentle pulse, trying to stay soft under that intensity. Last breath, wherever we are. and then straightening those legs. Well done. Heel toe those feet in slightly, keeping a bend in the knees. We're going to take the chin towards the chest and just gently taking those hands over towards one foot, bringing it back through the center and over to the other side. Keep breathing as you just sway into that standing forward fold. And then finding some stillness back in the center here. Heel toeing the feet in slightly. And then we're going to sink the glutes down into Malasana, or your variation of Malasana to begin with. So bringing the hands onto the inside of the knee as we gently rock the hips open. You can use the hand to encourage a little bit more depth, a bit more space in that groin stretch here. Keep breathing. Remembering that up phase of labor is all about listening to your body and moving in a way that feels good. Slow rhythmic movements are going to be what encourage that flow of oxytocin. And remember, oxytocin is the hormone that keeps your labor progressing. Anything that you can offer your body that feels good, that feels safe and grounding. And the more we practice during pregnancy, the more natural those movement patterns will feel. And the more we've practiced really tuning in and listening to the body, the more comfortable that practice becomes as well. You can stick with this, rocking the hips open, or if it is in your practice and available to you, still comfortable, you could sink the glutes right down into that Malasana, your yogi squat. So thinking of the weight distribution between the heels and the toes, the sides of the feet here, elbows inside the knees, palms are together in your heart space, taking a deep breath. Softening the jaw, softening the pelvic floor and those hips. And then we're going to sink, bring the hands behind, sink the glutes down. And then we're going to turn so that we come over into our tabletop position. Now from here, we're going to take the knees nice and wide, bringing those big toes together. So similarly to how we started today with our standing pelvic circles, our pelvic circles in our tabletop position just offer us a little bit more chance to rest, slightly less energy being exerted when we're down here on the floor. Again, you won't know what you're going to want till you're there, so it's good to practice in all different positions. If the wrists are feeling sore, you can always drop down to the forearms. But if we're feeling good, leading with one of the hips and starting to draw those beautiful seated pelvic circles, increasing the range of movement there. Encouraging the glutes right down towards the heels, the chin tucking right in towards the chest. And I always say, if you're only to practice one movement during your whole pregnancy, this would be the one I would get you to practice. Really works to encourage optimal positioning for baby. And relieving that weight and that pressure that you have in your lower back and your pelvis. And what we're going to do to take this a little bit further, it's really helpful to practice your up breathing with this beautiful movement pattern. So once you feel like you're moving intuitively here, and really just listening to the body and taking the body in whatever direction it's asking of you. Maybe you stay in one position for a while. There's no right or wrong here. We're going to go through a few rounds of your up breath together. So we'll be taking the breath in through the nose for 4 and exhaling out through gently parted lips for a count of 8. And roughly 3 rounds of your up breath is the length of 1 contraction. So when we've finished, we're going to come back to rest in that extended child's pose. So when you're ready, taking the breath in through the nose for 1, 2, 3, 4, out through the mouth. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then coming back to rest into that extended child's pose, forearms and forehead down, allowing the heart space to open, the head to feel heavy, and coming to rest in that beautiful grounding position.